Hey, welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. Today I have a review for you. I didn't know if I was going to do a vlog review on this or not, but last night I was sitting there thinking I need to really talk about this and express it better. Writing it's one thing, but being able to talk about it is another, as you all probably know. The book that I'm talking about is Revival by Stephen King. This book, I loved it. I loved it. That's the simplest thing that I can say about this book. I did read some kind of up and down reviews. I think that the overall rating is maybe 3.80 or maybe a little higher than that on Goodreads. But a lot of people, found disappointment because it wasn't a horror. They expected a horror. When I read a Stephen King book, I don't go into a book expecting any specific genre, because I know that Stephen King is the most diverse writer that I have ever read. And I can come to expect just about anything from Stephen King. I think he could write a contemporary romance. He is just that kind of an author. People associate him with horror because of, his earlier books like, The Shining and Pet Sematary and It. Those were horror books. But what people need to understand about Stephen King, and I come across a lot of people that say, oh, I can't read him because he's really scary. But they don't realize what other types of genres he can write. And he has a lot of them. He doesn't write strictly horror. So I don't go into it expecting a specific genre. I don't go in expecting, oh, he's going to write, this is going to be a horror. The only thing I expect when I read a Stephen King book is a brilliant story with amazing characters. That is what I expect. That is what I got with this book. To start, I rated this book 4 stars. I was teetering between 4 and 5, but, it's not my favorite book of his. Those get 5s usually, but it was really good and worthy of the 4. Since everybody likes different things, someone else may say this is my favorite, that kind of thing. So anyway, let's move on. One thing that I really liked about this was that the synopsis was a little vague. You didn't really know what to expect. And I liked that. I don't want to go into a book, into any book, already expecting I know the entire plot line and I know what's going to happen and that kind of stuff. I like them to be mysterious. And this one was. So we have this family in a small New England town. And the youngest one is named Jamie. And he's 6 years old. And this community hires a new reverend. And Jamie meets Reverend Charlie Jacobs and his family. And everybody just seems to love the family. Everybody just kind of idolizes them. The girls all think, the Reverend is just this awesome guy. And the boys all think that the wife is just this beautiful, awesome lady. And they just kind of fit right in. And they got a little boy. Tragedy does strike the Reverend and his family and friends. So this book is pretty much Jamie's account of, when he was 6 years old all the way up to present day and what he's seen and what he's been through. The story revolves mostly around the Reverend and Jamie. And that's enough said on that. So let's talk about the plot. Like I said, I really enjoyed the fact that it was vague, and I didn't really know what to expect. I did have images in my mind and thoughts in my mind of what was going to happen. I was going to think this Reverend was, going to be like one of those in the monasteries, and little boys and that kind of stuff. That was my first thought. And I thought, oh, geez, Jamie, look out, because he's got his eyes on you, kind of thing. So the plot was fantastic. I loved it, not knowing what was going to happen. I also loved the nostalgia of the time in the 1960s. And, you know, recognizing things they're talking about in the neighborhood and, you know, the characteristics of the characters. You know, I could really relate to the time. And I loved that too. I think that was a fantastic. It was really engaging and I couldn't put it down. And let's move on to the characters. The characters, again, unforgettable. Unforgettable characters. And it's usually like that in most of Stephen King's books. Of course, Jamie was probably my favorite. He was my favorite character in the whole story because I loved growing with him. So you didn't need backstory because he just evolved and progressed through the story and you got to watch every step of the way, and I really liked that. As far as the Reverend goes, I was on the fence about what I thought about him till probably over halfway through the book. And then I finally could decide, you know, what did I think of the Reverend. And I know a lot of different people are going to have a lot of different ideas of what they thought of him and, you know, his decisions that were made and that kind of stuff. How he deals with this tragedy that happens in his family. You expect when there's a tragedy that someone is going to be mad at God, you know, and I expected that. I just didn't expect the way he chose to deal with it. That is probably the biggest plot line in the story that I didn't expect. I didn't see it coming, and it made the story really exciting and fast-paced. And, you know, I also heard that there was some controversy, you know, because since there was religion in it, there was some controversy in that area. So it was a surprise. The whole thing was a surprise, and I really, really enjoyed that. If you've not read it yet, or if you're a Stephen King fan, you really should pick this book up. And like I said, don't go into it expecting a specific genre. I think the ending of it was amazing. Classic Stephen King. And the whole book is classic Stephen King because he's just so good at what he does. And I can recommend this book to anybody who likes Stephen King, or to those who like something a little bit different, maybe a mix of genres, or if you're afraid to read a Stephen King because you fear they're going to be really scary, then maybe this would be a book that you could read and you won't have that same effect. Because it really isn't, the focus is not horror in this story as people expected. So if you've not read it, pick it up. If you have read it, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments, guys, and we'll talk about it. That's my review, guys, on Revival. I will link to my review down below, my written review, so you can go read that, whereas some other things I guess are probably explained, and that's no spoilers as well. So thanks, guys, for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.